Hey guys, Shelby Smith with Jim and Eat Crickets. Today I want to talk to you about why I started this channel in the first place. I'm sorry, man. I got hairnet hair going on. My hair's been in a hairnet all day. So, reason number one of why I started this channel was completely out of necessity. I was building my grower network and my grower program, and I needed a platform that I could upload hands-on how-to videos for them as they went through the process of building out their cricket barn, as they went through the process of getting their first crickets, going through their first life cycle, constructing bins, harvesting bins, mixing substrate, all of the things that I take for granted that I just is like second nature now. I needed some sort of living reference that was scalable, I suppose, so that I had one reference point that they could link to from our cricket rearing manual. So that's where some of those really short videos, or some of those videos without any explanation hardly at all, most of those came from are part of my grower manual, and so those are linked in the actual process. So that was really the origin of this YouTube channel. Otherwise, I was very convinced I didn't have time to start a YouTube channel. So the second reason really is, again, out of necessity, was when COVID hit and everything locked down. Up until that point, I had been in business for just over 2 years, and the most effective marketing piece, if you will, that I had at the time was speaking to groups. When, everything locked down, my schedule cleared completely. That meant I was not educating anybody about eating insects. I was not educating them about raising crickets. I was not getting in front of people. I also had some extra time that I didn't normally have from traveling to these places, speaking to these people, live in-person events. All of those things went away. So again, out of necessity, I needed a way to be able to communicate what I did, how I did it, all of those things. Welcome to my YouTube channel. That was when I really started getting into more educational material, more explanation and how-to, more covering all aspects of the cricket life cycle, getting really in-depth into the breeding and the hatching and dealing with all of the different things. So it was out of necessity again for me to pivot my business a little bit and pivot my business model and be able to get my message and message out about, eating crickets, but then also educate people about raising crickets, because it's just not something that most people see every day. The next reason is increasingly, it really has happened since I started this, which particularly in the first year, nobody should have been asking me for help about how to grow crickets, because I really didn't know what I was doing. But as time has gone on, I've had more and more people reach out about how they can grow crickets for themselves, how they can do what I do and start their own business, how they can grow for the live market. I get a lot of what I would call consultation inquiries. And the truth of the matter is, I don't have enough time to be a consultant. Even if you would pay me for my services, which if we were in any sort of one-on-one consultant relationship, that's what you would have to do. I don't have time to be able to offer that service and help you the way that I would want to. So this was a way for me to help address many early questions that people have. I obviously am a pretty open book about how we run things on the raising the cricket side, and I'm hoping to get documented a few more things on how we do it on the food side as well, because I think that's just an entirely different battle. But ultimately, I do want to help people, because I think that in order for this industry to grow as a whole, whether it be in the live market or whether it be in the food market, but particularly in the food market, we need more people doing it. So if the barrier to people doing it is they are not getting enough assistance, it's easily fixable. And I'm not worried about giving away trade secrets and stuff like that. there is enough room for everybody, and nobody is at a point right now where they have any trade secret that is going to make that giant of a difference. I think there's probably some people that would probably fight me on that, but it's the truth. The other side of that is, at the end of the day, we are dealing with an animal. We are dealing with a live organism. If you are finding a better way that is making less stress for those animals, should not be a trade secret. That should be an industry-wide push for the best conditions for the animals that we're rearing. Total aside, total soapbox, total different conversation. But, so for me, this was an easy and scalable way for me to help address at least most people on the basics. And then whatever I miss, I really do encourage people to interact in the comments, in my live Q&As, things like that. So if people have more specific questions, it really just helps me scale my time and help the most amount of people without constantly being, dragged in multiple different directions. So that's really why I don't consult, and that's why I send people, when they send me emails anymore, I send them to the YouTube channel and say, here's most of the basics, go for it. So that really is the reason that I started. It was honestly started out of necessity. I had to have something to show my growers how to do things, and then when COVID hit, this seemed like a really interesting, easy, accessible pivot for me into sharing my story, sharing how we do things. And then as, inquiries have increased of, hey, I want to do what you do, this is something that hopefully people find some value out of. I can say personally, when I think about the content that I'm creating, the how-tos I'm creating, things like that, I try to build for myself 4 years ago, because nothing like this existed 4 years ago. I purposely put off starting this YouTube channel, like I said, time constraints and all of that, but I also felt like I didn't have a good enough grasp on what I was doing. I know there's a lot of other people who have started them much earlier, and some of their methodology came through and I think actually hurt the industry because they didn't know what they were doing yet, but that became like the go-to guide. So I really wanted to avoid that as much as possible as well. So truthfully, when I'm building content, when I am teaching people about raising the crickets, and as I teach people about, cooking them, preparing them, that kind of stuff, I'm trying to create a guide that I wish I would have had when I started out. It would have saved me, so much time, so much money, anguish, effort, all of the things. So if you have any questions at any time on any of my videos, please drop them in the comments. I'm really, really happy to answer them. I don't always have the right answer. There's just too many things. At the end of the day, we are in a growing industry with live organisms that have not had a lot of study on them, not like official academic research and things like that. There's been a little bit here and there, but in comparison to other livestock, man, crickets are just such an opportunity for a researcher. So, with that, there will be growing pains. There will be things that I used to think was the best way to do it, which, maybe 6 months later I've decided or not. Things I'm always trying out that I haven't necessarily shared yet. So please drop any questions in the comments. Happy to answer them. Thank you for watching. If you find value in this, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing with your friends. Every little bit helps as far as me helping more people and us advancing this entire industry. So thanks for watching.